Hey guys, how's it going? So you want to buy your first stock. Now, one thing that a lot of people realize that when they want to get into investing is that there's so much information out there and they just don't really know where to start. So in this video, I am simplifying it down to 7 steps. And number 7 is buy your first stock. So we're going to go over the 6 things you need to do beforehand to prepare yourself for buying that stock. This won't be going into too much depth. All it will be is just giving you a little bit of a path to follow and how to start your amazing investing career to get your money to start working for you. So let's jump into what are the 6 things you need to do before you do number 7, which is buy the stock. And as a bonus, if you guys watch all the way through, I'm gonna go over 3 things that you should do right after you buy your first stock and how you should go about what to do after and just kind of lead you in the right direction. So today, here, right now, let's start your investing journey. Step number 1, and this is a big one. This is probably the biggest one or the most important one aside from when you first buy your first stock, and that is you're going to want to open a brokerage account. Now, to make things very, very simple, what a brokerage account is all it is a website or a program, or oftentimes it's a company that handles the buying and selling of stocks. So in order to be able to buy and sell stocks, you have to make an account with this company online, and that's where you're going to go to buy and sell and really monitor your stock. So there's a bunch of different programs out there, a bunch of different brokerage accounts out there. The one I personally use is I use a brokerage account called Robinhood. It is very simple. I think it's also great for beginners, and it's just a good way to get your feet wet into the investing world. Another great thing about Robinhood is that there are no commissions, meaning what you'll find at most brokerages is you're going to find that there are commissions, meaning if you buy a stock, it's going to cost you about $4.95, about $5 usually, around that ballpark, depending on who you're using, to buy a certain stock. And Robinhood cuts all that out. All you do is buy the stock and there's no commission in buying it. So that's one of the best things about Robinhood. And if you guys would like to open up an account, I would love it if you guys would use my affiliate link in the description. The great thing about this is when you use it, each of us will get a free stock. But if you want to find the best account for you, I would just do a basic Google search online and read up different reviews and watch different videos about different reviews of different brokerage accounts that are out there. There are big ones like TD Ameritrade, Scottrade, E-Trade, and if you just look them up, you'll find websites that have the pros and the cons of them. All right, number 2. So we have that brokerage account, and now it's time to really start weeding through stocks and figuring out where on earth are we going to start. There's millions of different stocks out there and different things you can buy. How do I narrow it down? Well, now it's time to do very basic research. So this is just kind of understanding what are the big stocks that are out there. Just get a little bit familiar with the vocabulary and start understanding what are blue chip stocks and just starting to understand things a little bit so you can start to navigate your way through. Don't worry about getting into the nitty gritty. Just get an overview of the stock market and just understand quite a bit about it. This is all about understanding vocabulary. And if you're looking for that, you can watch videos I have here about different stock market common vocabulary words. You can also just type in stock market vocabulary and that will also point you in the right direction, but just do basic research about the stock market. Number 3, it is now time to fund your brokerage account. This is pretty simple. You are just going to be usually connecting your bank account to whatever broker or brokerage you signed up with, and you'll just be transferring some money over. And the amount that you transfer just depends on how much you want to invest. So just put that money in there. Sometimes it takes a few days to completely settle and all the funds be there, while other companies it is instantaneous, but it is time to put that money in your brokerage account so we can start using it. Number 4, now it is time to do more in-depth research. So step 2 was all about doing very basic research, but now it's time to get a little more specific. So in your basic research, you should have found and just whittled it down to maybe a few stocks that, hey, that seems interesting. Maybe it's the S&P 500, maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's Apple, and different big stocks like that, big blue chip stocks, and now it's time to do a little bit more in-depth research. So this is most likely available on whatever brokerage you are using, but it's just important to look at to make sure their numbers look good. You can look at how much money they have coming in, how much revenue they're actually making. You can also look at professional investors and what they believe the stock is at, whether or not it's overvalued, undervalued. Don't get bogged down by too much crazy information. Sometimes it's a rabbit hole and it just gets a little overbearing, but just do a little bit more in-depth research that you didn't do at first. And this is just making sure that the company stands on solid ground. So it's always best when you're first starting out to probably start out in a little more conservative stocks, meaning they don't swing all over the place. And you can look at big time stocks that have just always done well. So I would start with those. Don't get into smaller, riskier companies yet. Let's just start our investment journey with more conservative stocks, in my opinion, is the best way to go about this. But now it is time to take those and just really whittle it down. Yep, so that's 4. It's all about doing a little bit more research and just taking different ideas that you have, different stocks that you might want to buy, and really just figure out which ones you would like to continue with by seeing how steady that company is. Number 5, and so many people forget about this one, even though it is so important, and that is you're going to come up with an investment plan. Now, this doesn't have to be a very detailed plan, but it just wants to be an overview about how you plan to go about your investments. So there's really 2 parts to creating an investment plan. The first one is setting up some criteria that your stocks might hit. So maybe that has to be, they have to be rather conservative stocks, they have to have this much in growth over this amount of time, or they just have to have this much revenue coming in, they have to be growing this much. Really, it's different for everyone. Everyone's criteria is a little bit different. But then the second part of this investment plan is coming up with that plan altogether. And that could be something like, all right, when I first start out, I want to be buying very safe stocks. I want to diversify in this way. And as I kind of go, then maybe I can get into a little bit riskier stocks, or hey, I'd like to stay on this conservative path. Now, most likely you're not going to stick with this plan and it will change, but just having that plan to begin with is so important. Otherwise, if you go in with no plan, you'll feel very lost and you just don't really know what to do. Number 6, this is the last one right before we buy that stocks, and that is you want to find the stocks that you want to buy. Now, this is a lot easier said than done, but through doing basic research and through doing our more in-depth research, you should have whittled it down to a few stocks now. It shouldn't be a huge amount of stocks. So now it's time to just go through theirs, look at the money you have, and see how you would like to invest them. It is now time to choose the ones that you want to buy. Number 7, you made it. It is now time to buy those stocks. So now you can go into your brokerage account. This is usually pretty simple everywhere because it is the most common thing you're going to do with your brokerage account usually within buying and selling, and that is just go in. There's probably a buy somewhere, or just find the stock. You can click buy. You can talk about or put in the quantity you would like to buy, and your account should be funded, and you will now be able to purchase that stock. Now, oftentimes if you're at one of these bigger companies, you'll see that there's a lot of different complex things you can do to buy it at certain prices. If you're new, I wouldn't mess with any of that. Personally, I don't even really deal with that. I buy it at whatever the price is there if I believe it to be a good price. So as soon as you click buy, congratulations, your investment journey has begun and you are now invested in the stock market. Alright, so you made it to this part in the video. You are now invested in the stock market. Congratulations! But now it's the question of, what do you do now? You work so hard to go and invest in these stocks. What do you do? Do you sit? Do you do nothing? What do you do? Well, this is kind of a bonus, but let's go over 3 things that you guys should do now that you have invested in the stock market. Number 8, and that is you should watch but not panic. So keep an eye on your stock. Don't religiously check on it every single day or every single second of the day, but just watch it, and if it goes down, don't worry. That's okay, because you know that the stocks will go up and down, and if you picked a good stock, And I'm sure you did because we went through that in-depth knowledge to make sure it was a good stock. If it goes down, don't worry. It will most likely end up going back up. And that's really hard for people. A lot of people, when they get into the stock market, they get very emotional. But what you want to do is you want to watch it, and if it goes down, don't panic about it. And if it goes up, great. But just watch it, keep an eye on it, make sure the company's doing all right and everything like that. Number 9, don't stop now, grow your portfolio. You are now into the investment world and your money is now working for you. So I would grow your portfolio now. I would set up plans to maybe have a direct deposit of a certain amount of money every single month, every single week, and get it in there and start growing it. This stock market is an income producing asset that if you put your money in there, it will start working. Your money's no longer just sitting in a bank account. It is now in there and it's working as hard as you are now. So I would set up kind of most likely direct deposits, or if just once in a while you'd like to put some money and fund your brokerage account a little bit more to buy some more stocks, then great. But this should also be worked into your investment plan as well, saying, oh, every month this much will go into it. Number 10, and this is the last one, it's probably the simplest one, but it is really, really important, and that is enjoy it. The stock market, in my mind, is really a beautiful thing. I really enjoy keeping up with it, and it helps me know and gets an idea of how the world is doing at large. I get to learn about all these big companies and different things like that. Plus, it also makes me money. Now, when people get all uptight and all worried about the stock market, it's not fun. So don't worry about it. Just have fun doing it. Investing is an amazing thing that so many people are able to do. And because of the big brokerage accounts out there, really anyone can get involved with it. So let's just enjoy it. Let's not get too worried about it or anything like that. Let's just enjoy our time investing in the stock market. All right, so that will wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope those 7 were a decent way to point you in the right direction to how you should buy your first stock or how you should just start investing in the stock market as a whole. It's hard because there's so much information out there. There's experts telling you this, there's other people telling you that, and just so many shouting voices that sometimes it's hard to see exactly how you should start doing it. So I hope that really simplified it down just to get you pointed in the right direction. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love talking about, especially to new beginners in the stock market, about how the stock market works and different things like that. But that will round out this video. I am wishing you guys the best of luck. If you guys are new here, my name is Calvin Rabb. I make videos all about personal finance, and I do that because I believe that personal finance can be fun. And if you subscribe, you will find videos every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I would love it if you would subscribe for those. But that will wrap this video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Calvin Rabb, and as always, I'll see you soon. Bye guys.